Sale from Tai Lopez. And I have to say that there's so many books and lessons on closing. And I've heard different tonalities, different approaches. How do you prevent the objections before they happen? Or maybe you could say, oh, yeah, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I've learned so many of these tips from other people. And I'm going to try to combine them all. But today, let's focus just on what I learned from Tai Lopez because I think I want to take the most important lessons that I've gotten and share that with all of you. Because sales is a very, very important skill. And I've always thought that, hey, I don't want to sell anything. And my mindset, maybe it was a limited belief, right? Maybe I thought I wasn't worthy of selling something. Hmm. Interesting, right? I wonder how many of you have had that thought before. But I finally realized when I learned from another guy named Dean Graziosi, who is Tony Robbins' like right hand person. He expressed that if you believe that your product is so good and you care so much, you have to sell it because that's how you help the other person. Because if you don't sell it, right, they're going to get inferior product, inferior something, or they're going to buy the same education that you're looking for, if you're using education as an example, from another person who doesn't care as much. So I'm not saying anyone can sell or anybody should sell. I'm saying you should sell if you believe that you care the most and you care the most about delivering the best experience possible. So let's start, right? Let's talk about why most people don't close, right? Usually, when it gets to closing a sale, people get really nervous and you've shared your idea, right? You've told your story. The person in front of you is nodding, maybe even smiling, but then nothing happens. There's no deal, there's no yes, there's no follow up, and they just vanish, right? Why does this happen? And what I've learned is sometimes people lose when they apply pressure in a bad way. I'm not saying you can't have a little bit of pressure, but sometimes they leave the conversation either open ended, it's awkward, or they're even unsure. But you have to understand that closing isn't about tricking someone or manipulating someone, right? You have to create clarity. You got to make it easy and safe for that person to say yes. So let's keep going. Because I like to use an analogy. And again, learning how to explain this stuff in a fifth grade analogy. And I'm learning how to become a better dad by learning how to explain these concepts to my own kids. And it's almost as if you are helping your friends go up to the diving board on a swimming pool, right? They already climbed up the ladder. They want to jump, but then they're scared, right? You don't yell, "Hey, jump now, or go home." You sometimes you might say, "Hey, I'm right here. Just bend your knees and go. I've got you. I'm right here." And that gives them the feeling of safety, comfort, and it helps them think through the next step, even when they might be paralyzed with fear, so that they can make the change that can change their lives. So, I mean, let's talk about different ways to close, right? The one that you can build trust. And this is what I learned from Tai Lopez. I'm not saying he's the best closer. Sharing with you what I learned from him because I think when you combine elements of sales from a few other folks, another guy I follow a lot is Jeremy Lee Minor, who I have just heard and learned a ton about tonality and how you talk to people, the different tones that you have, right? So let's keep going, right? So Tai Lopez talks about not skipping the answering the why now question. And that's essentially most people don't say no because they hate your offer. Sometimes they just say no because they don't feel like they have to act now, right? Usually to close, sometimes you have to create urgency, but without pressure. So how do you do that, right? You might want to show them why taking action today is better than waiting. So let's just make it out right. Let's say you're selling an online course on affordable housing development. You might say, hey, the enrollment closes Friday at midnight and we don't open again for another 6 months, right? You want to start building your first project before year end. I mean, now's probably the time, right? It's different. It's almost like you're getting on a train, right? The doors open, but you wait too long, they're going to close and you have to wait for the next train. So you don't yell at people, get on. You say, hey, this is your stop, or this is where you get on if you're ready. Then, number three, sometimes is overcome objections, right? This is why you see a lot of people give you guarantees. And usually that's because fear is a number one killer of the deals, right? Even when someone wants to say yes, they hesitate because they're worried about making a mistake or looking foolish. Your job is to make them feel safe to say yes. So, how do you do that? You might add a guarantee, right? So this is why you see a lot of people say, "Hey, if you finish the course and you do exactly what we prescribe you to do every single week, and you don't get your first deal or you don't feel confident in your knowledge, right? They'll refund every dollar, no questions asked." Oh, that's really cool, right? It's kind of cool, and it's almost like you're giving people training wheels on a bike, right? They still have to pedal, but they know they won't fall while they figure it out. And you have to really figure out what that guarantee is. And don't give an earnings guarantee, right? You got to full disclose that you can't guarantee people making money. It's, I mean, when people go to college, they don't get a guarantee that they're going to get a job with that piece of paper, but it's the prospect and the potential of getting a job with that degree that they go to college, right? Obviously, there's experience, et cetera, or whatever, but I'm just saying that's just an example, an analogy. So let's talk about other topics that he's covered, which includes a soft close, right? Instead of pushing for the sale right away, Ty talks about starting with a soft close, where you might ask something simple like, hey, if everything looked good, is this something you want to be a part of? Right? Or you might say, hey, would this be the kind of thing that helps you reach your goals? Right? This lets them tell you what they're thinking without any pressure, right? It's almost the same concept, right? Like you're giving someone a sample at an ice cream shop, right? And you ask, hey, do you like it? You're not demanding them to get a scoop of that right away. You're just inviting them into the conversation to get their thoughts. So, next topic, right? You have to clarify the next step. Don't end your conversation by let me know. I'm really guilty of this, saying let me know. Please let me know. That's not a close. That's a fade out. That's a part of the best way of phrasing it because I it was so guilty of saying, please let me know. Instead, make the next step clear and easy. Maybe you say, hey, I can send you the link now. Just confirm and I'll reserve a spot. Or you might say, hey, I've got a few open coaching call slots next week. Would you like to grab one? It's almost as if, hey, do you want to ask to meet at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, right? You're making choice simple and helping them follow through. And obviously, this all comes without saying. Sometimes you do walk away. Sometimes not everybody is right to have in your life. Don't chase that $100 sale for 2 weeks of pain with the wrong customer, right? Sometimes you meet people who do not have their mindsets in place to make the change, to make the leap, because they might not believe in themselves yet, or they might need some help or more assurance, or maybe there's more fair, or maybe there's been a situation where they bought a course before, as an example, right? Or they bought a product before and it didn't work out well, right? How many times people have bought supplements? How many people have bought certain workout equipment thinking that that was going to change their life? It's tough. You don't know what that person has gone through. And if someone truly isn't a fit, forcing it is going to damage that trust. And then just so you just close it out, right? Just say, hey, no worries. When the time is right, I'll be here. And if you ever have any questions, reach out anytime. And that's how you leave with a little bit of warmth, but also integrity and looking out for yourself because it's okay for you to walk away from a sale, right? Letting someone know the door is always open. That allows you to not have to worry about chasing down the street, but then that takes all the pressure off of them, right? People feel respected this way. And sometimes they might come back just because you didn't push. You have no idea how many times I read on reviews where they talk about a sales guy for any type of business, doesn't matter what it is. And it's like, oh, this guy was super helpful, explaining all the options. He wasn't being salesy at all, right? That's probably the number one thing you might look at for as a customer when you are potentially considering buying something, making a change. It's knowing that that person isn't going to be so pressure. And for some reason, I don't know why people used to think pressure works. is the opposite of working nowadays, right? We have our defense up all the time. I got a spam call today say, "Hey, I'm blah 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 with blah blah blah." I instantly clicked because we're so much on the defensive. So keep going. All right. So have an amazing day, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 584, 585. All right. Just remember, next time you ask for the sale, make it easy, make it safe, make it clear. Just make it feel natural, like the natural next step in a relationship when you have built that trust. Because when you care, you don't really just earn that. Yes, you earn a partner, you earn someone that's enrolled in the mission that want to make an impact, especially if you're in affordable housing. So why do I share all this with you? It's really because believe that if you're watching this channel, if you're listening to the Affordable Housing Podcast, you believe in making an impact with your time, with your energy, because you could have been spending with anybody else, but you choose to do that with me, and it's my honor to be here for all of you, to share what I'm learning every single day, and I cannot thank you enough for caring about affordable housing. Without people like you, I would have never had the home I grew up in. So I appreciate you all so much, sincerely. Thank you so much. Every single time I get a thank you, you have no idea how much it means to me. So I appreciate you all so much. And hey, go out there, help, go help one person today, no matter what it is, who it is. Just go help someone without any expectation of return. Make that part of your DNA, and you'll be surprised how far that takes you. All right. Have an amazing Monday, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 585. Have a good one.